Alright, we're going to start again. What I've decided to do is work my way through this book of poem-like pieces called Halbschwein at Midnight. I read some of these on the last installment of this series, so as we work our way through, some of them may be repeated from last week eventually, but that's alright. Like I said, this is a notebook that I filled up in the latter half of 2021. I don't know how I did all this shit, but anyway, so I'm just going to read 5, 6, 7 minutes worth, and we'll work our way through this book as, you know, in pieces. Alright, this first one is called All in One Go. As an experiment, the failure was evident, and but seeing as was, there was not to be any editing and must press onward. No more experiments, he said, an introduction of sorts. The following presentation, however, will be made with something like thoughtfulness, and the diligence due to such deliberate density. Only after looking at these kinds of things years later, and in the mass of their entirety, is a person such as yourself able to see the art and the craft in bulk. Of course, I need the person such as yourself because of the whole false dichotomy of observer and observed. Next one. We will not choose from among the illustrations. Beautiful lectures present necrodynamics as a debate between two raging pessimisms or narcissisms. I can't remember how it went in the dream from which all this is derived. Many people ask me, are these poems? Well, not anymore. The days when I needed to see them as poems, even as prose poems, is long a day short. I don't even think the word poem has any meaning anymore. Any more meaning or relevance. Probably just like novel ever since I began writing the way I do, liberated as I am by what I've read, meditating as I do even though you're not supposed to do it that way. Is that really meditating? Is that meditating? Is that really what it is? It's just a thing I do. It's just a thing I write. A film review is ultimately a piece of writing written in response to a film. I'm sorry I forgot the consumer. I didn't care much more about Madame Bovary, either novel or character. Bukowski, too, not any for. The pocket knife scene was the last I could take. But people really do feel like that, and such reality had never been depicted before. I liked Nana, probably more for having always wanted to read it than its contents. Who was the illustrator? How did he get by without air conditioning? The semi-fondue. May have to leave it there. I'll have to do it myself, write my own critical study. The mountain inside. I no longer know how to enter the mountain, and even if I did, I don't think I ever knew what was in there. The man on top of the mountain, who lived there, presumably looked like Eddie Albert. How he lived and what he did, I never imagined. That creepy guy from the Andromeda Strain was the one who lived in the mountain. I guess he had a futuristic lab in there. And then, to flesh out his page of text, he rambled nervously about never seeing or being able to see certain people ever again. In all of its trying to teach pornography, the Begegnis has achieved false movement. I imagine it as a worm-like being, totally alien to our world, and therefore held in a transparent, close-fitting chamber filled with its own microbial chemical environment. By signs it conveys its intentions, its lessons. Groove on this, it seems to say. Some follow, or attempt to, but few, so few in fact that the rock and roll like frenzy or fad expected has not occurred. An earthquake partially buries the Begegnis in its container in a parking lot. Oats gigolate for the temptation to look, and that's not all, to touch, to sniff. Top that, woman. Of course, the top is what we're talking about. Do you polish your work, Mr. Distingué? Do you polish your décolletage? Dr. Druid? Wiper fluid and elbow grease? You know, I really hate Ayn Rand, and I would have told her so had I ever met her, which I probably have. After all, reincarnation appears to be subjective. Reincarnation appears to be subjective, sorry. Oh ho, you wit. You it lover, scoundrel, and rogue. I almost wrote rouge by rote. Brown ringer day pouch. They had returned from their shopping errand and now descended from the upside-down elephant roller boat to unload the bags of rice and soap flakes and other items of necessity. Mangopher, the natural leader among them, paused to gaze upon the commune's headquarters with a gaze of admiration and pride. What a monument to the spirit of brotherhood and cooperation, he thought. There was one malcontent among them, however. He had grown tired of the simple food and drab uniforms. Bartering is no way to trade, he thought. Embrace the miniature novel. Like I said, I don't even know what a poem is anymore, what poetry is. I don't want to read the avant-garde in translation. Can't seem to find what I'm looking for. No school, no circle, no one's orbit, and no one in mine. Henry Darger and I will occupy a landing of our own between two lonely levels of hell. Do I have to do everything on my own, by myself, a one-man movement? I feel a responsibility to the characters I create. I need to include myself in the works. Ah, compressed, beautiful thoughts. Such an incisive point to make. 2 sandwiches?